Hey everybody, and welcome to Kanoa Reviews, where we review games both new and old on all platforms. However, today we have something a little different, as we are going to take a look at a top 5 of best backroom games that are available. I would love to do more top 5 or even top 10s on certain games or topics, so if you have any suggestions on nice ideas to do a top list about, leave it in the comments down below. The Backrooms, of course, has really blown up in 2022 despite it being a thing for several years now. The liminal space you traverse makes it seem perfect for some indie horror games to thrive, and over the course, we indeed got some very promising titles. However, there are also plenty of quick and messy games that really are not worth your time, and this list will hopefully help out some picks to satisfy your needs to visit the Backrooms. What one looks for into a Backrooms game can differ greatly from person to person, from the actual feeling and atmosphere of the found footage videos to gameplay or graphics. Therefore, number 1 might not cater to what you are looking for, but hopefully there will be some titles in this top 5 that you will be willing to check out. So let's dive in. On number 5, we have the Backrooms 1998. This was a Backrooms game that got quite a bit of attention amongst the YouTube horror gaming community, so chances are that you have played or at least heard of this game before. The game offers a more traditional gameplay experience that starts out quite linear and eventually turns into a collecting mechanic where you need to traverse the hallways and rooms in search of specific items while being stalked by a monster. Some of the scares are actually really effective, though some might dislike the emphasis of many loud jump scares. You'll be getting them a lot in this game, and a few are even pretty cheap too. Also, another reason why this game is a number 5 and not higher is that the look does not really feel like the Backrooms that we know and have come to love from Kane Pixels. Now, it should be worth noting that of course Kane Pixels did not invent the Backrooms premise, and thus the look and feel is not defined, but I think we can all agree that the Kane Pixels look has become the standard. Nevertheless, I think the Backrooms 1998 has a real good build-up, and the monster itself is also very grotesque and scary, so definitely worth your time if you want a more scary and traditional horror experience. Then, at number 4, we find the Backrooms Lost and Found, or, as it officially is called, the Backroom Lost and Found. Though this game might initially turn some of you off since the look is also not what we have come to expect of the Backroom standard. However, this game then really excels at introducing some fun and unique gameplay mechanics, and even has a somewhat heartfelt story. In this game, you traverse various areas while you are looking for a family of small giraffes. Yeah, I know it sounds absurd, but it works surprisingly well. You will need to find the baby, the mother, and the father, and by doing so you will unlock new abilities that will help you to go to new, undiscovered areas. You will have to switch between 2 different realities too, where in one particular reality, the mannequins will come to life and chase you. There are plenty of collectibles to find as well, which even play a role into the story and main mechanic, as you get to be faced with a terrible choice near the end of the game, of which the outcome can differ greatly depending on how many collectibles you got. By the end, there's also a wonderful Easter egg referring to another popular and beloved horror series. And best of all, this game is entirely free, so even if you are not convinced yet, I would highly recommend to at least try out to see if you like it in the end. On number 3, we have the Complex Found Footage. This is yet another free game available on Steam, and the appeal of this game becomes clear mere seconds when looking at it. This game pretty much is the most accurate game when it comes to the feel and depiction of Kane Pixels' Backrooms look. In fact, some sections even look photorealistic, or at least realistic in the sense that amateur video footage looked like back in the early 90s. You will visit various areas known in the Backrooms lore, including the pool rooms and some more urban locations, and it just is an absolute delight to walk through these endless hallways. You really feel hopeless and like you are stuck in the Backrooms. In that sense, it also really nails what it would be like to have this happen to you, and is probably the most accurate Backrooms experience. Therefore, this might also be the favorite or number 1 for various people. However, the reason why it's on number 3 and not higher is because this is the absolute essence of a walking simulator, where it pretty much has no gameplay associated with it. The only thing you are doing is looking for the next door or elevator to head towards the next section. There are no puzzles or other gameplay to speak of, which might be a turnoff for some. There's no danger, but then again, some would argue that this is not what the Backrooms are about. And it's really about that intense and hopeless atmosphere about being in this liminal space by yourself. It definitely is a game that has to be experienced at least once though, to see how close they got to nailing the atmosphere from the Backrooms we all love. On number 2, we have Escape the Backrooms. This is a Backrooms game that offers multiplayer, and therefore already had a head start when it comes to the fun factor. Though maybe not as photorealistic as the Complex, it still absolutely nails the look of the Kane Pixels Backrooms, and offers many different areas and levels to visit with different types of gameplay. Though it also can be experienced solo, I definitely would recommend playing this with at least one friend. You will have your more traditional chase sequences or avoiding standing in the dark for too long sequences, but also more in line with the Backrooms experience, where you need to traverse the hallways and rooms of the pool level just to find the exit. You often do not spawn in the same room, and therefore it can still give you the feeling of isolation and despair for a while, even when playing with friends. There are some cool secrets to find as well, and this game has been promised to be updated with more content in the coming future. The party level might frustrate some players, but overall, this is definitely one of the Backrooms games that has a great balance between gameplay, fun, and also feeling like a Backrooms experience. And then finally, on number 1, we have Inside the Backrooms. Some of you might have seen this one coming, since it's very popular within the horror gaming community, but Inside the Backrooms simply offers the most robust and fun gameplay experience despite not really looking like the standard Backrooms visual look. Which is all the more impressive and a testament of how good the gameplay is and how fun it is to experience with friends. Yes, this is yet another Backrooms game that you can play multiplayer, and it really makes it so much more enjoyable. But the real highlight of this game are all the puzzles and gameplay that make it feel like a horror adventure game. It goes beyond just finding a key or a code, as you really need to use the environmental hints and clues to solve some of the puzzles. Playing this with friends really forces you to communicate and deliberate with each other, which is wonderful. And all the while you are traversing the many hallways and rooms, there are also plenty of different enemies and monsters you need to watch out for. It seems something new gets introduced every other 5 minutes, and Inside the Backrooms showcases that within a video game, gameplay is still the number one thing that is important. Again, some might really want to go for that isolated walking experience of being in the Backrooms, and for those it might be better to play the Complex, but in my opinion, Inside the Backrooms just is the most fun game in and of itself. The good thing too about these games is that many are free, and the ones that do cost money are usually pretty cheap. Anyway, that was my top 5. Let me know what Backrooms games you like the most, or maybe if there were any that did not make the list. Also, don't forget to let me know if you have any suggestions on other top 5 or top 10 lists so we can make, and I will see you all next time.